The player and their representatives aren't afraid of putting up a smokescreen to improve their leverage.
I don't care about the money. I just want to win a championship. I just want people to know that it's not about me being the highest paid non-quarterback or me having a huge contract.
4 to 6 weeks later.
An extension to stay in Cleveland. Myles Garrett has just become the highest paid non-QB in NFL history.
Every offseason, we see players take their own liberties, speaking to the media and fans alike about what they're looking for in their next team. So, let's take a look back at 10 big NFL free agent signings and trades where players lied leading up to for some big money. Za'Darius Smith. In 2022, Smith agreed to terms with the Baltimore Ravens. Not once, but twice. Then he mysteriously went ghost and then backed out of the contract entirely. I mean, just the day prior, it had looked like it was a done deal. And it was a nice story at that. A former 4th-round pick returning to the team that drafted him seemed like a great schematic fit for the 2-time Pro Bowler at the time as well. But once a couple of other pass rushers in Von Miller and Chandler Jones got huge contracts, he realized that there might have been a little bit more meat that he could get off the bone in free agency. And so he elected to sign with the Vikings on a 3-year, $42 million deal that increased his annual contract value by around $4 million.
I really didn't even know about Von Miller's situation. I think during the time I was actually getting a massage. When my agent was on the phone going back and forth, but I just received a text message saying that I had signed and I never did agree to anything, and that's how that worked out.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Za'Darius, but we're not buying that. Aaron Rodgers. With all the noise that has been made around Aaron Rodgers this offseason, it's easy to forget just a couple years back how intense the hurricane was that the embattled future Hall of Fame quarterback caused on his way out of Green Bay. In 2021, Rodgers went on ESPN and waxed poetic about culture, character, and doing things the right way.
It's just kind of about a philosophy. It's about character. It's about culture. It's about doing things the right way.
Then, of course, he forced his way out of town to the New York Jets of all places, where he promptly signed a 3-year, $112.5 million deal with $75 million guaranteed. And while he tried to do right by the fans on the surface level with a couple of empty shout-outs, there wasn't some teary-eyed goodbye. And he ultimately just tried to turn the page on his entire career there in short order, hoping that people would ignore obvious truth that he had just wanted to go somewhere that would be paying him top dollar in the twilight of his career and satisfy his massive ego. Myles Garrett. Oh, Myles. Tisk. Heading into this offseason, the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year went on and on about how he was done playing for the Cleveland Browns. And considering how the last couple of years have gone there, I don't think anybody would have blamed him. The organization has long been a dumpster fire from the top with Jimmy Haslam all the way down to the bottom. And it just kind of made sense that Garrett looked to be the latest superstar to push his way out of town.
When you look ahead again to potential spots, is that something that's important to you? Go joining a team where the quarterback is set and ready to compete?
Absolutely.
And then he signed a massive 5-year extension worth $200 million, with $123 million being guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Sheesh, so much for holding out until he was traded to a contender.
I have a lot of love for Cleveland, but it's always for me been about continuing for championships. We haven't had the opportunity to do that, and that's all I'm asking for.
I guess once the Brinks truck was truly backed up, Garrett suddenly had no problem sticking around. Deshaun Watson. Oh, the saga of Deshaun Watson's exit from Houston and arrival in Cleveland might be one of the most disingenuous PR roller coasters that the league has seen in years. It wasn't just all of the smoke and mirrors around his off-the-field conduct, which understandably got most of the attention. That was definitely dishonest. But also his willingness to waive his no-trade clause in order to join the Browns. Watson made it known through his camp that he was not interested in the Browns. In fact, it was reported that he eliminated them from contention entirely. Cleveland, meanwhile, was on its hands and knees trying to fix a quarterback disaster of their own making. And just when it looked like they were out of the running, they did the one thing no other team would do and reset not just the quarterback market, but the broader NFL contract landscape as well by offering a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract. Keep in mind, this is to a guy that hadn't played football football in a year. Never mind all of the additional baggage. This, to this day, stands as one of the most preposterous deals in NFL history. Eli Manning. Ah, yes, the infamous 2004 NFL Draft. The day that Eli Manning became a New York Giant and somehow a sympathetic figure.
Why don't you want to play for the Chargers?
We're not really giving details right now.
The story the public was sold was that Eli and the Manning family simply didn't trust the San Diego Chargers ownership, that they were protecting his career, that it was all about fit.
There was a decision made by, I believe, Archie Manning that he didn't want Eli to come to San Diego.
But anyone with half a sense of how the league works could smell the truth from across the country. This was not about the front office. It was about the market, and subsequently, the money. Eli didn't want to play in obscurity on the West Coast for a struggling team with an irrelevant fan base. He wanted New York, the lights, media machine, marketing potential, and of course, all the money that comes with it. 2 Super Bowls and a truckload of endorsements later, it's hard to say that he made the wrong choice. DK Metcalf. When DK Metcalf started making noise about wanting out of Seattle, it was dressed up as 2 things. One, it was framed as a competitive move, that he wanted to be in a system that could maximize his prime years, that he wanted to win, he wanted to play for a team that could compete for a Super Bowl. And 2, he wanted warm weather. You know, not exactly something that Pittsburgh is well known for. Now, on the former point, let's be clear, the Steelers are a respectable organization, historic franchise with a very loyal fan base. But come on. Let's not pretend that they're knocking on the Super Bowl door right now. They did, however, hand him a 5-year, $150 million contract, one of the richest deals in franchise history. The truth in the matter is that DK found the team that was willing to pay top dollar and still give him the bona fide wide receiver 1 treatment, which, yeah, in the end, that was all that he really needed. DeAndre Hopkins. Well, it seems clear that DeAndre Hopkins has officially entered the ring-chasing portion of his career, with the 3-time All-Pro now jumping from Kansas City and Baltimore in subsequent seasons. He's actually been beating that drum for a little while now. It first really started to pick up steam ahead of the 2023 season, where he was determined to get out of Arizona and play for a contender, only to sign with the Tennessee Titans, where he was set to be catching passes from Ryan Tannehill at the time. I feel like I've always had something to prove, and that's how I play my game, Hopkins said via the team's official site. The decision to come to Nashville obviously made a lot of people mad, but I kind of felt at home being here from the get-go, from early on. Hopkins continued to validate the decision, explaining that he felt comfort and familiarity with the coaching staff there, and that he believed that they had his best interests in mind. But in reality, he was a 30-year-old receiver coming off a couple of down years and injuries, and the Titans were willing to pony up $26 million over 2 years. Javon Hargrave. 2022 was a big year for Javon Hargrave and the Eagles. Hargrave posted a career-best 11 sacks for one of the top-ranked defenses in the league, and the Birds stormed all the way to the Super Bowl on the strength of that fierce defense, narrowly missing a win against the Chiefs. And once the offseason rolled around, whispers sparked regarding which members of that historically great defense they were going to be able to keep, and he thought Hargrave would be one of them, as he had indicated that he wanted to be part of the Philly culture and keep building. But what those folks didn't factor in was that the San Francisco 49ers, who the Eagles knocked off in the NFC Championship game the year prior, would come a-callin' with a 4-year, $84 million deal with $40 million being guaranteed. He definitely leveraged his interest in staying with Philly as leverage to drive up that offer. Antonio Brown. At his peak, Antonio Brown was absolutely unreal. 5 straight 100-catch seasons, unstoppable footwork, production that just kind of spoke for itself. But when his relationship with the Steelers fully went sour in 2018, AB suddenly became deeply philosophical about where he wanted to go next. He said he wanted a better quarterback, a better culture, more respect, which is totally why you would leave the Pittsburgh Steelers to join the Las Vegas Raiders. Now granted, he had made a cool $33.79 million in his final 2 years with Pittsburgh, but the deal with the Raiders came with an upgrade that locked in an extra $340 million. Of course, he still played it off like it was about the culture of the silver and black, but it was clear looking back that it was really just another player looking for more money and a place that he could run wild in true AB fashion. Orlando Brown Jr. After winning a Super Bowl in Kansas City and playing left tackle for the best quarterback in the world, Brown's camp reportedly told anyone who would listen that he wanted to stay put. which honestly made a lot of sense. I mean, Kansas City was the kind of place where he could be part of building a dynasty and play with Patrick Mahomes. It is really tough to imagine many better landing spots than that. But then, the Bengals came a-callin' with a 4-year, $64 million front-loaded deal, including over $31 million in guaranteed money. And poof, suddenly the Mahomes era was in the rearview mirror. Look, we're not saying that he was wrong to take the money. Getting paid like that and playing with Joe Burrow is a pretty nice option too. But it is hard to think that his team didn't know what they were doing, hyping up the idea that he was going to be a Chief going forward. But which NFL player do you think most egregiously lied for big money? Who do you think we're right on here? Who do you think we were a bit wrong about? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.